Nous allons parler en général
We
de
will
l'homme,
speak of general of man as the human
qu'est-ce qu'il
being,
représente,
what he
qu'est-ce
represents,
qu'il est au point de vue terrestre
what he is
et
from an
universel,
earthly point of view and
sous
also
un
a
thème
universal point of
général,
view,
connais-toi toi-même.
under the general theme of Know Thyself.
Est un univers.
Man is a
Mais
universe,
comme l'humanité a passé
but as
par des
humanity
degrés inférieurs
has
de sa
passed
conscience,
through
nous ne nous
inferior
connaissons pas.
degrees of its
Et
consciousness,
petit à petit,
we
nous
don't
nous
know
approchons
ourselves.
vers une époque
But
où
little
on va
by
se
little,
connaître davantage
we are approaching an
et
era
alors,
where we will
par des
know
écoles
ourselves better.
initiatiques, nous serons
And
renseignés
so through
de ce
initiatic
que l'homme
sciences
représente
and
en
schools,
réalité.
we will learn
Alors,
how
d'ici
man
plusieurs
works and what he
semaines, nous allons nous
represents.
rencontrer pour
And so
parler
throughout
de
these
nous-mêmes
following weeks, we
et
will
de ce
meet
que nous
together to
représentons
speak
au niveau
about
universel cosmique.
what we represent on a universal and cosmic level.
Aujourd'hui même, nous allons parler de l'homme
Today, we will
qui est en
speak about
face d'une
man
nouvelle époque,
that
au
is
seuil
at
d'un
the
nouveau
threshold
cycle
of a new
qui
era
s'appelle
and
l'ère
of a
du
new
Verseau.
cycle called
Alors,
the
le
age
thème
of
d'aujourd'hui,
Aquarius.
ça va être
The theme
l'homme
of
au
today
seuil de l'ère du
will
Verseau.
be man at the
La
threshold
semaine
of the
prochaine,
age of
ça va être
Aquarius.
le thème
Next week, we will
l'homme
speak
est
about
un microcosme.
man is a
Car nous
microcosm,
trouvons en lui
because we find in him all of the universe in miniature form.
et par la suite,
And
nous
following
allons
this,
développer les sujets très différents
we will
de
develop
quoi nous sommes
very
constitués,
different subjects
comment
about
travaille notre
how
pensée,
we are
nos
constituted,
sentiments,
how
notre
our
corps
thoughts
physique,
work, our emotionals,
qu'est-ce que nous représentons
feelings, and our
sur les
physical
plans
bodies.
supérieurs au niveau de
What we
l'esprit,
represent
de
on a
l'âme,
higher level,
comment
what we
nous
represent
venons sur
as
la terre,
souls and spirits,
et les
how we
sujets
come
les
to the
plus
earth
différents où vous serez invités
through different
à
subjects
écrire,
where
à
you will
poser
be
vos questions si
invited
vous le voulez.
to write
Mais
and
si vous
ask your
patientez,
questions if you wish.
peut-être au
But
cours
if
de
you are
39 semaines, vous
patient,
recevrez
perhaps
votre
after
réponse.
39 weeks you will
Alors,
receive these
nous allons
answers.
commencer par le côté le plus général,
So let us start with
aussi
this
par ce qui nous
most
touche le
general
plus
side
aujourd'hui,
and what is
car nous
closest
sommes
to
influencés
us
par des courants
today,
complètement nouveaux
because we are
qui n'ont jamais
influenced
existé
by
sur la
very
Terre,
new currents that have
et
never
petit à
existed on
petit,
the earth
nous allons
before.
apprendre à nous connaître.
And little by little, we will learn how to know ourselves.
On va toucher aussi les thèmes comme
We will also
qu'est-ce que
touch
la mort,
upon the
qu'est-ce
themes
que l'âme,
of
comment nous
what is
venons sur
death,
la terre,
what is the
l'éducation
soul,
prénatale,
how we
le
come to
rôle de la
earth,
femme
prenatal
dans la
education,
préparation de l'ère du Verseau,
what is the role of women
les
in the
initiations en
preparation
Égypte
of this
et aux
era
Égyptes,
for Aquarius,
les
the
écoles
preparation
initiatiques,
of a
le
disciple,
travail par la pensée,
the work
qu'est-ce que c'est les couleurs,
on our thoughts, what colors represent, how to work with music, and other themes that you may be interested in or that you may propose eventually, that touches upon man, our gland system, our chakras, and other things.
On arrivera peut-être, si nous avons le temps,
We may even
à
come
s'arrêter
to, if we have
sur le
time,
symbolisme des parties du corps,
to look upon
comme
the
les
symbolism of the
la
different
bouche,
parts
le
of
nez,
our
les
body,
oreilles,
as the
les pieds.
eyes, the nose, the
Qu'est-ce que
mouth,
représentent
the
ces parties de
ears,
notre corps
the
au
feet,
point de vue
and what
ésotérique,
these parts
initiatique?
represent from
Alors,
an
petit à
initiatic
petit,
point of
nous
view
allons nous connaître
and an
davantage,
esoteric point of view.
car depuis très longtemps, ce maxime ésotérique, connais-toi
For a
toi-même,
very long
a
time, this
intéressé les humains.
saying has
En Grèce,
interested
il y
human
avait une
beings,
ville fleurissante qui
the saying
s'appelait
of
la ville
know
de Delphes,
thyself.
où il y avait
In
un
ancient
temple
Greece,
magnifique, et sur ce temple,
there was a
il y
beautiful
avait une
temple, and
inscription,
on this temple
connais-toi
in
toi-même.
Delphi,
Et Socrate,
Greece,
qui nous a transmis
there was an
des
inscription
pensées extraordinaires, a pris ce maxime
That said, know thyself. And the philosopher Socrates used this saying very much in his writings and teachings. And so throughout time, we have studied this, but from an exterior point of view. But today, the human thoughts have expanded a lot. And so today, to start this beautiful work, to know thyself, will be, we can do this passionately, to know thyself, know ourselves, through the different parts of the bodies, through the symbolism, and you will see to which point the universe is present in ourselves. As we will discover, in the eye there is the solar system. In the ears we will discover all of divine wisdom that is deposited in nature. We will discover in our mouths the principle of love that exists everywhere in the universe. And in our nose we will discover cosmic electricity. Through our glands, we will discover the correspondence with the etherical levels, energetical central stations that link us to the rest of the universe. And so there are many other interesting things that we possess, but that we are not yet aware of. Exactly as a child who, before going to school, he knows a few objects, little toys that he has, but who made these toys, how everything works in the universe, even in his own country, he doesn't know anything yet. And so little by little, we can learn about this beautiful theme, know thyself. And so today, we will stop on this theme of a man at the threshold of the era of Aquarius. There have always been cycles, very small cycles, greater cycles, and bigger cycles that are outside of our reasoning and our comprehension. Small cycles are, for example, seconds, minutes, hours, days, nights, weeks, years, months, millenniums, cycles in nature. But outside of these, there are other cycles that during only one human life, or even during a cycle of civilization, we don't have methods to measure these yet, really, but it doesn't mean they do not exist. When children ask us, "What is air? I don't see it. Show me." It is difficult to show a child what is air. It is just a bit more challenging. It exists, and for us it is the same. As in, for the things we do not see, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. And presently, the Earth is finishing many cycles that can be compared to seasons, that can also be compared to a human life. There are many cycles. There is childhood, there is youth, there is the adult age, and old age. There are 4 seasons, just as in nature, through which man lives and passes through. And so Earth is finishing today many cycles. Do not understand today too literally. It can be maybe 1 century. For many people, it can be a part of their lives. But for the Earth, it is a cycle, and we will witness something that we haven't seen for many ages, which is the end of many cycles. You have perhaps heard of Lemuria or Atlantis, or even in history there, which have been presented in many interesting stories. The Noah's Ark, Arch. And so Earth has already gone through many cycles with endings and renewals, and we witness changes. For example, in autumn, people who take care of the Earth know this ending cycle, and we gather everything that we have planted. And the tree which has accomplished its work lets its leaves fall, and the cycle is completed with a restful stage that happens during winter, and then in spring life renews itself. And so it will be the same, it is the same in the universe, with shorter and longer cycles. But what is interesting presently for the Earth is not that it is finishing only one cycle, but it is like many cycles at the same time. If you think of a cleaning woman that is working at home, 1 week for her is one cycle. When she finishes this cycle, in the olden days it was more common, every Saturday, the cleaning was done for the house. If you arrived at this moment in the house, you would have found the chairs upside down on the tables. Everything is in chaos because it was the big cleaning of the house. And so on the Earth, it is the same thing. When a cycle is over, we clean everything in the house. And this cleaning is a bit stronger, visible, and impressive than in one house. But everything seems to be upside down and in chaos. Everything is misplaced. If we look in families, society, associations, religions, something feels that is out of place and not correct as it used to be. And this is quite right, because everywhere these cycles are finishing. And the Earth itself is going through its old age, and so everything is all over the place, and things seem to be upside down. And so this cleaning is happening on many different levels, not only on one level with one cycle, but juxtaposed with many other levels of cleaning, and therefore cycles. This is the first important thing, that as we know all these cycles are finishing, when we see these events happening around us on the Earth, we will be less surprised. Just as perhaps in October, November, you change for your winter tires. You prepare firewood, you prepare the house to winterproof your house. And so when you are prepared, you welcome storms or winters or whatever may come. You go through winter with no danger. But if you are not prepared, one can freeze and die, and it can be very important. But as you are prepared, you can even be very comfortable and impressed on how beautiful outside looks during the winter time. And so we will see very odd events happening on the Earth. because it is finishing these cycles. And so this may provoke that the earth may be influenced by certain currents and influences, by energies that the earth doesn't know yet or hasn't lived through. And these currents may be so strong that if we are not prepared, we may be shaken up or even more uneasy. And so this is why it is important to be aware of these things and also to prepare ourselves. And I know that you have this question. Tell us how we should do this. So it will come, perhaps not today, but during these lectures we will speak about how to best prepare ourselves. So the first thing to know is that we are going through major changes. If we only look at this last century, things happened as have never happened before. If we consider the world wars or the concentration camps where millions of people have been tortured and died and exterminated. Many things have happened, maybe we will mention it another time, but that have happened during this past century. There have been also a series of inventions that permitted humans to better communicate, to move farther distances, energies that we didn't know of before, the telephone, electricities, airplanes, things that ease our everyday life. But unfortunately, we abuse of these facilities instead of using them for more constructive purposes. Instead of using these inventions to benefit and enable us to elevate ourselves and to know ourselves better also. And so these changes are here since a long time. And these changes will be even more visible. Every 2060 years, the Earth enters a new sign of the zodiac. You may have heard of the zodiacal circle that has and contains 12 constellations. And these constellations influence the Earth constantly. As a human being or an animal, the vegetation or even the mineral world is influenced by these energies that we constantly receive. And every 2,160 years, the Earth passes through one of these signs, and so is influenced by a certain type of energy. And this energy links us and many geniuses, saints, extraordinary people will be influenced and inspired by these energies. Now we know that since the birth of Jesus, for these past 2,000 years, the Earth was under the influence of Pisces. And this energy is always brought by a being, by a great initiate that is prepared and has been prepared for centuries before his birth, who canalizes this energy for the rest of humanity. From a point of view of sciences, religion, wisdom, work and arts, everyone can benefit from these energies. that come from this sign in which the earth passes. And so from the birth of Jesus up to now, it was the era of Pisces. And at this moment, now, the earth is entering the sign of Aquarius. I will show you an illustration where in the center there is a black dot, a black circle, and this is the earth, the representation of the earth. You see rays around it, and these are the cycles of the sun, where every ray can represent one day. And so we are very used to this cycle of the year. Everyone knows the day of the new year. Every day we finish and restart a new cycle. Around this circle, you see the signs of the zodiac. Presently, the earth is entering the sign of Aquarius that you see on your left, of the line that is vertical on the top, that represents either noon or midnight. So it is like a clock. And so at the same time, on this clock, we can be finishing a second, a minute, an hour, a month, a year, a century, a millennium, and even greater cycles. And it is as though all these little hands are superposed, juxtaposed. And so the third circle is much bigger, and it is divided into 4 parts. It is called the major cycle or round. And this represents the third greater cycle that the earth is finishing, and it lasts 1,000,000 years. It is divided into 4 parts, as you see. 250,000 years each. And so, presently, we are finishing this last quarter, and at the same time, the whole cycle, which is 1,000,000 years long. And so these 250,000, and so all of this is finishing. Apart from other cycles that are much smaller, the earth is finishing now these 2 great cycles. And these needles, as if they were juxtaposed, this ending will be much stronger because many of these cycles are happening and ending at the same time. And so what interests us and what will be touching us has to do with our physical body, our energetic, our etherical body, all social and moral life, and other manifestations that we have, all of society, even the surface of the earth, everything will be touched and changed because of these strong currents that these new signs are bringing to the earth. In the zodiacal circle, Aquarius is the only man, human being. there is a woman who is in Virgo, but all the other signs are animal forms.
Et en réalité, nous, les humains, nous allons finalement devenir
So in
les anges.
reality,
Car jusqu'à
the humanity,
notre
us as humans,
notre vie, nos instincts,
will come into our
notre
humanhood
intérieur était guidé encore
because
par les lois animales. Nous en parlerons
up
plus tard,
until
et
now,
nous serons les premiers
our
étonnés
expressions were, our
nous
instincts
sommes
were
régis
mostly
encore
guided
par les
by
lois animales.
animal laws. And we will speak more about this, how we cannot master ourselves. It's difficult to control ourselves. So many things are beyond our reach.
Nous ne nous connaissons
We don't know ourselves.
que nous sommes régis
And this is
encore
why we are still governed by the animal laws.
présentement.
And so presently,
Nous allons entrer
we
dans
will
une
enter
époque
an
extraordinaire
era
où l'homme
where man
va se connaître,
will know
où l'homme va
himself,
se présenter
where man will
partout
present himself
dans toute sa
everywhere
dignité.
in all of his
Il n'y aura
dignity.
plus de tueries,
There will be no
il
more
n'y aura plus
killing,
de guerre,
there will be no
il n'y
more
aura plus de
wars,
destruction,
no more
et de toutes
destruction,
ces choses abominables
and of
que nous
all these
connaissons
abominable
jusqu'aujourd'hui,
things that we have known
avec
until
toutes les
today,
inventions,
with all
avec
the
tout le côté
inventions
du progrès,
and
de merveilleux que
progress,
l'homme a découvert,
wonderful
que nous
things that
sommes
we have
encore
discovered,
plongés et noyés
to be
dans le
still
sang humain qui
plunged
coule en
in
ruisseaux
human
et
blood
qui
that
coulera
flows in
bientôt
rivers,
encore davantage.
and that soon will flow
Quand
even
Pilate
more.
montrait Jésus, il
When
disait,
Pilatus
voilà homme.
showed Jesus, he
Et cet
said,
homme s'écrit
"You
avec une majuscule.
hear man," and man is written with a capital letter.
Régie par ses lois animales,
Man today is still a creature that is governed by his animal instincts, still not
même
able
si
to
le potentiel
create,
est en nous,
although
même si
there is
tous les
an
appareils
immense
sont sur
potential,
place,
and even if
mais
all the
ils ne sont pas
apparatus are
branchés,
installed,
ils ne sont
it
pas
is as though they are not
il y a
plugged
quelque chose qui n'est
or
pas à
turned
sa
on.
place.
Something is not in its place
Alors
yet.
bientôt,
And
avec
so,
cette ère
very
qui
soon,
nous apporte
with
des
this
courants
era that will
très
bring
puissants,
us very
l'homme
powerful
va
currents,
devenir vraiment
man will
homme
become
dans toute sa dignité,
man in all of our
et
dignity,
homme sera écrit avec une
and
majuscule.
man,
Le
will
côté
be
animal
written
sera
with
dompté
a capital letter,
sera
where the
transformé
animal
et
side will be
transmuté.
tamed,
Et justement,
transformed,
la terre passe
and
présentement
transmuted.
par la transmutation.
And
Ce
so
n'est
Earth
même pas
at this
la
moment
transformation,
is
mais la
going through a
transmutation, car la
transmutation,
fin de chaque
which is
époque,
different from a
c'est une
transformation.
transformation.
Each
Il y
era
avait le
brings
déluge à
on
l'époque de Noé,
transformation.
il y avait le
There have
déluge
been
à l'époque
floods
atlantéenne, il y avait d'autres
in many
disparitions
eras,
à l'époque
for
lémurienne
Noah,
que
in
nous allons
Atlantis,
connaître de plus en plus.
and prior to
Mais tous
this,
ces changements,
Lemuria.
c'était
And
des
all these changes
transformations.
were
Mais présentement,
transformations.
la terre va passer par la
But now,
transmutation.
today,
Ça veut
Earth
dire
is
que
going
non
through a
seulement
transmutation,
la forme va changer,
meaning that not
mais
only
le
the form
noyau
will
même
change,
de tout
but
atome,
the very
de toute
core
particule
of
matérielle
every atom,
va
physical
changer son taux
particle,
vibratoire.
will change its
Et à cause de ça, nous avons
energetical
subi quelques petits
frequency.
secousses, quelques petites
And because of
purifications.
this,
Et
we
si nous
may
sommes
go
au
through a little
si
bit
nous nous
of
préparons,
shaking
si nous
up,
préparons notre corps, tout va se
of
passer beaucoup plus rapidement et mieux. Et ça va
of changes,
devenir,
but if we are aware of this, if we are prepared for this, this will be a pleasure to go through. It will be a joy to go through this major change, and it will be magnificent.
Il y aura des changements tout d'abord au niveau intérieur.
There will first of all be changes on an inner level, and of course, as the exterior reflects what is inside, we will also witness exterior changes. But as we are speaking of the human being, we will notice that we have earthquakes inside of us. We have floods on our emotional levels. And God knows how many floods we are going through in our emotional bodies. There will be fires which are on our mental level. So everything that is outside of us exists before anything inside of us, and only after is it reflected outside. And so for these changes, little by little, even our cells are being prepared to transform through this era and through these energies that the Aquarius is bringing to us. The Aquarius is bringing a new era of science, but a science that we have never known before. A science that looks at the divine side in everything, enabling us to see every object in a new way, everything that surrounds us. We will be able to see a new inner side of things, and science will be able to measure and see it, to witness this. It will bring a sort of new religion, which will be more of a universal religion, which is expressed through a faith, a consciousness, an infinite faith that everything is inhabited by a divine awareness, something that we were not aware of before. But with this link that will be divine and religious, what we know today as clairvoyance, thanks to this inner perception that we will develop, will enable us to link with everything that exists in the universe. Through the pulse of our heart, we will also be able to synchronize with the pulse of every living thing in the universe. When we approach a tree, we can know perhaps the integrity, life of a tree, the music of the tree that is circulating through its trunk. We will perhaps perceive the images that are hidden in a seed, the colors, the music of the seeds. We will be able to communicate with faraway stars, perceive life on the sun, to speak with the heart of the sun. Of course, we will be able to contact every human being. And this era of Aquarius will be so wonderful that we will know if there is someone at the other end of the world, if only one being is in suffering, we will feel this suffering inside of us. Our joys will not only be about our possessions, of our car, TV, our little living room, separated from the rest, but our joy will be in common with all the other human beings. And our level of consciousness will be connected not only to all of humanity, but all of the universe. And so this characteristic of the era of Aquarius will be this link, this new consciousness, which will not be a dream state as it used to be. As we know today, biblical figures were very intuitive, but through dreams, during the night, they would receive revelations. But today, the revelations that we will receive will be in daylight, will be conscious. Of course, we are preparing for this, and as Jesus told us, have a pure heart. He was thinking of this clairvoyance because if the heart is not pure, if the motivation is not divine, we will not be able to see anything. He didn't say, do miracles intellectually and do great things, develop your powers. Everything will be present and come with this purity of the heart. There are many other wonders that are waiting for us. For example, there will be communication through our thoughts. This is evident that if we want to communicate with the entire universe, we will develop communication through our thoughts. We will develop energies that are unknown until today. One of these energies is a little known, which is solar energy. We will learn how to work with the sun. In previous civilizations, the sun was very well known. Those who know Zoroaster, Persia, ancient Egypt, and those who even know the life of ancient Indians will be in wonder how the sun was loved and known. And presently we will discover a very special link with the sun, but we will speak about this later. This link outside of any energy that we know of, because there is a part of ourselves that exists on the sun. Therefore, discoveries and inventions, wonders, and what is named today as miracles will enter in our daily life. And miracles will become permanent and common. The era of Aquarius will also bring transformations on every plane, also on the level of social life, moral life, values that we know of today. We will all be able to witness the crumbling of old values and see new values arise. Values such as gold, because gold is the condensation of the light of the sun that condenses itself on earth. We are seeing its value go up, and always, more fortunate people would always wear gold on themselves. And perhaps we don't know this yet, but gold itself is a protection. As condensed light, gold emits very protective energies and wavelengths. And so if fortunate people and those who were able to buy it, this is why they always wore gold. And if we are able to wear it today, it is a vibration that comes from the sun. But this new value that is coming will not only be of gold, it will be the value of light, the light that comes from the sun. Also, in social life, in earthly life, there will be only one country with one governance, where the human beings will be brothers and sisters, as a brotherhood, a sisterhood, and with all the wishes, the principles that Jesus has left us, we will finally be able to realize them and manifest them in this new age of Aquarius. On the earthly level, there will be one government We have to admit today that the earth is living in anarchy today. And this anarchy will be replaced with a beautiful harmony that is called synarchy. There will be an authority, a great master or an initiate with infinite knowledge, not only on the exterior level, but on the inner level, that will know of the principles, laws of the universe. And this being will direct a government where there may be a council of execution with different boards that organize different areas of life. But this will be a perfect organization. From this higher point and perspective, everything will be able to be governed beautifully. Perhaps before, these ideas may have seemed as a utopia. Many writers, people have written about this. But today there is a space where we can realize these beautiful things. We have often heard the term the kingdom of God, or others say a paradise on earth. And as these terms have been seen as utopic, that have been transmitted to us by great initiates, great masters, this side that was alive but also hidden because we weren't ready yet to realize this, this will now be able to be taught to human beings, and we will be available to be able to realize it on earth. And as Jesus, who was a great teacher, who has transmitted knowledge that we have no idea about yet, has given so much information on how to realize this harmony on earth. Even questions about economy that is able to be so perfect that we will be in wonder of how we did not understand this yet. Perhaps it wasn't the moment yet. When we want to plant salad, if it's not the right moment, it will not grow. For any culture, if we plant it at the wrong moment, we will not have any results. So with philosophies and teachings, with sciences, with everything that we have been presented with until now, there have been many good things. Some things died away or became old, but everything that has become too old, we will leave it on the side. But everything that is still very potent, we will realize it, we will water it and make it grow. By who? By us all. But when we want to accomplish a work, anything at all, if we don't know of it, we cannot do it. If we are asked very simple things, when do we plant carrots, or can you sew me a skirt, or building a house? If we ask someone who has no idea of how to do these things, we cannot do it, obviously. You may have seen a Chinese ball that is in ivory, that is sculpted in such an amazing way that in this ball there are 35 other balls, one in the other. And it is sculpted with flowers, and when we place the balls in a certain way, we can see through it. And therefore, to accomplish a work such as this, we need a whole lifetime. But if someone is not competent and doesn't have the skills to make these beautiful balls, they won't be able to do it. And so there are wonders and wonders that are waiting for us during this age of Aquarius. But before entering, we have to do a cleanup inside of ourselves and a cleanup on the whole earth. How this inner work will present itself, how this inner cleaning will present itself. There are many new currents for people who want to become more aware of what they eat through being vegetarian. There is a new current of yoga, a current that brings us towards meditation, and other currents, and therefore to study what we want to study. We have to understand that this is not hazard. If these currents are here and available to us, perhaps we cannot do everything at the same time. But to observe what we are drawn towards the most, and to develop a bit of discernment, to start accepting what these new currents are telling us. And perhaps we can adopt one or two methods that help us to create cleaning, cleansing inside of us as we let in these new currents. And we will speak about how do we accept the new, what work it does on us. It does something very tangible and very precise through a new idea that comes in when we accept it. We start a whole alchemy inside of us, which is a transformation. Perhaps you noticed that at the moment when you accept something new, transformation happens inside. When you accept something, a lot of burdens become very easy and let go. And in the same way, when people want to oppose themselves and not let in these new currents, for some people around us, things seem to become crystallized and much harder for them. If you imagine a farmer near his house, there is a pile of compost. It may stink, you have to turn it, you have to transport it. When he accepts this compost, he places it where he needs to be, and this compost does a work on his fields. And it is amazing food for his crops. But if he doesn't want to do anything with this pile, it will attract bugs, smells, and it just becomes a big problem. And so you may have also heard of extraterrestrial beings and how people react to this subject. Some people are very aggressive against this subject, and for others, it is very natural and it is not a problem. Some are in between and they will accept it in a few days or years. But knowing that there is no coincidence, we are able to analyze many things, but we rarely draw conclusions of what happens around us and in us. To draw a conclusion is to draw a lesson and a learning from these past experiences. Like the top of a pyramid, there is a light that is made and an understanding of this conclusion. Whereas when we do not draw conclusions, we kind of stagger at the bottom of the pyramid. And so it is always useful to make a synthesis as we draw conclusions of all our experiences to be able to go onward, forward, towards other conclusions. And so to resume, we have to be aware and conscious that the whole earth will go through an ending. It has already started. The ending of many eras. And these changes are bringing new currents that are very powerful towards the earth, that will influence our consciousness, our physical bodies, our different systems of glands, respiratory system, our circulation systems, and on. The Russians have discovered these new currents around, so scientists have discovered these new currents around the Earth, new frequencies. And so this means that there is something that is very real through these questions that we still may not be able to perceive completely. The transmutation that the Earth will go through will permit human beings to become a child of the universe. Before we were children of the Earth, and our consciousness was very childish, at a child level, just as when the child goes to school. The child can do a lot, can run, eat, breathe, but the awareness is still very limited. And humanity up to now is very comparable to this childish age, where we are still not yet admitted in the universal school. And thanks to the era of Aquarius that links us to the universal currents that are very powerful, we will be able to enter a universal school that we will call here on earth the divine school. And thanks to our inner perceptions, we will discover the heart of everything that exists in the universe. We will link to these hearts, and we will be in awe as we work, and this work will become a creation. We will not be creatures, but we will become creators. And so this era of Aquarius will enable us to become creators. On the vibration level, everything will change. On the level of atoms, everything that exists in the physical plane, the frequency of matter will change. Up to now, the speed through which we walk, let's say it was at 220, but we will enter a current and a speed that is perhaps 50,000. And so we will try to take in and submit and process all these new currents and adapt. Because if we are not prepared, these currents can be, they could be very dangerous if we are not yet prepared for a higher voltage, let's say. And so this new energy level will bring changes on the earthly crust, but also in all the manifestations of life on earth. And people are asking, are we going to survive? Certainly, because we will prepare for this and we will become witnesses and actors that will accomplish marvelous things, and creators creating the kingdom of God on earth. And it is for the first time that our participation will be conscious. There have been eras where humanity has realized and installed, thanks to its guides of harmonious governments, and it has realized many beautiful things on the earth. But our consciousness was not quite well tuned in. We participated as children participate, but we were well guided. But now, where we are today, through our willpower, our efforts, and even thanks to our knowledge, we will realize the most beautiful dreams that poets, that saints and geniuses have had and transmitted to humanity. Now we will be able to realize them on earth, and it will become a new earth. An earth where life will stop disappearing, where life will become eternal. And ourselves, we will be students of this divine school and learn to speak, to sit, to work, to love, to communicate with the universe, and mostly to create. And so, the threshold is not outward. It is, first of all, inside. There are already human beings on this earth that have realized the kingdom of God inwardly. We will speak about this more. Everything must be realized inwardly first, and only then can it be realized outwardly. We will speak about the apparatus that we know of, which are exterior to what we possess already inside. But these tools are not plugged or used yet, and when we will know how to do this, we will accomplish marvelous things.